Forget everything you think you know about ancient Rome starting as a grand republic or mighty empire. You're missing the crucial origin story. What if I told you the true foundations of Roman power, the deep-seated social divisions, and the very idea of a political elite all began in a shadowy period often ignored? Understanding this ancient blueprint isn't just history. It's the key to unlocking how power structures form and evolve, even in our own time. Most people skip right past the Roman monarchy, viewing it as a mere footnote. They jump straight to consuls and emperors, completely missing the 7 kings and the complex society they governed. By doing this, you lose the vital context for why the Republic fought so hard for its structure, or why the empire eventually became so centralized. You miss how the seeds of Rome's greatness and its eventual internal conflicts were planted centuries before Caesar or Augustus walked the earth. Ignore this period, and you'll forever have an incomplete picture of one of history's most influential civilizations. So, let's pull back the curtain on this forgotten era. From roughly 753 BC to 509 BC, Rome was ruled by kings. But this wasn't just a simple monarchy. Society itself was rigidly stratified, built on fundamental divisions that would echo for centuries. At the top were the patricians, a small group of aristocratic families who traced their lineage back to the city's earliest founders. They held immense wealth, religious authority, and political influence. Below them were the plebeians, the vast majority of the population. Farmers, artisans, merchants, they were free citizens, but initially lacked the same political and religious rights as the patricians. This wasn't just a class distinction, it was a fundamental divide in power and opportunity. The king, or rex, held supreme authority. He was not just a military leader, but also the chief priest and ultimate judge. His power, though immense, wasn't absolute in the way some later emperors would command. He consulted with certain bodies, which brings us to the surprisingly influential role of the Senate. Even in the monarchical period, the Senate existed. It was an advisory council, primarily composed of older patrician men, literally fathers or patris. While the king wasn't bound by their advice, their collective wisdom and prestige gave them significant weight. This early Senate was a training ground, a precursor to the formidable power it would wield in the Republic. But that's not even the real social glue. Rome also had the Comitia Curiata, an early assembly based on tribal divisions called curiae. This assembly confirmed the king's authority and oversaw certain legal matters. It represented a direct, if limited, voice for the people. However, the king's power and the patricians' influence often overshadowed it. Now, imagine this society held together by something more personal than laws. It was the patron-client system. A powerful patrician patronus would offer protection, legal aid, or financial support to a plebeian clients. In return, the client owed loyalty, political support, and service to their patron. This wasn't charity, it was a deeply ingrained social contract that solidified the power hierarchy and ensured stability, but also reinforced dependency. It's a prime example of how social relationships were the true currency of influence. And you can't talk about early Roman politics without talking about religion. It was completely intertwined. The king himself often performed crucial religious rites, and the Pontifex Maximus was a powerful figure, overseeing sacred laws and calendars. Omens and auguries, interpreted by priests, played a significant role in political decisions, granting a veneer of divine approval to earthly power. This wasn't just superstition, it was a sophisticated mechanism for legitimacy and control. But this intricate web of power wasn't static. It was constantly shifting, facing internal pressures. We see this most clearly with the Servian reforms, traditionally attributed to the sixth king, Servius Tullius. These reforms reorganized Roman society not just by birth, but by wealth and military contribution. Citizens were divided into classes based on their property, which determined their military duties and their voting power in new assemblies like the Comitia Centuriata. This was a groundbreaking shift, starting to undermine the old patrician monopoly and laying the groundwork for a more meritocratic, or at least wealth-based system. It's a crucial payoff, showing how economic power began to challenge birthright, a tension that would define Roman history. So, what ultimately led to the downfall of these kings, paving the way for the Republic? It wasn't just one thing. It was a culmination of abuses of power, particularly by the last king, Tarquin the Proud, combined with a growing desire among the patrician elite for more direct control. The stories of tyranny and outrage, whether myth or history, became the rallying cry for revolution. This period, though ancient, provides the ultimate blueprint for understanding how power, class, and governance were first forged. The very names, patrician and plebeian, the concept of a senate, and the integration of religion into state affairs, all originated here. Consider how this early, often brutal system allowed Rome to grow from a small settlement on the Tiber to a dominant force in Latium, laying the foundation for an empire that would span continents. It shows the incredible resilience and adaptability of Roman institutions, even in their earliest forms. Understanding the Roman monarchy isn't just about dates and kings, it's about grasping the fundamental DNA of Roman power. It reveals how social stratification, political bodies, and religious authority combined to create a system that for centuries shaped the Western world. Don't underestimate these early roots. They are absolutely critical to truly grasping the Republic's formation and the empire's eventual struggles. It's the essential context you need. If you want to dive deeper into how the Republic overthrew the kings and built an entirely new system of checks and balances, then watch our next video, The Birth of the Roman Republic, From Kings to Consuls, right after this one. It reveals the exact strategies they used to reshape power forever.